into the woods, deep into the woods, deep into the woods. Late at night I'm spooked, I stay quiet talking to the tens. Evil scriptures capture me, I'm wanting for my evil sins. Creep in the light, yes I'm licking but I'm seeing dark. Whisper Street where I be, where them niggas born hard. Lurking to the other side, the lake is where I calculate. Stay on my hustle, clocking T's, but I'm in the days. For a buster sucker that be trading on my damn style. Kill 'em, put 'em in my pal, leave they body smelling foul. Put them niggas through my torture, yes them voices in my head. Voices in my fucking leg. Am I weak? That's what they said. Riding through my hood, I'm the reaper dressed like Robin Hood. Keep on talking bad shit into the pittance of the woods. Deep into the woods, 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 deep into the woods.
My hood has got me evil, I can't even begin to tell you why. I'm drinking all them 40s and the shawty with my nigga tag. We smoking so much dope, I coughed and choked when shit got out of hand. Handle with some niggas, caught my shit and tried to do a man. Hanging out the window, Westwood nigga, motherfucking thug. It's
Yo,
a
what's up now?
to the paper clip that's filled with 30.
Jealous busters dwell, what the hell? It is me, finally. Welcome to the game, so glad that you came. No longer baby from the scene, this tiny 1995 with the solo. Told you I was gonna creep, so here it is, goddamn. Everybody gotta put a hold on the tape. For the mother family is going to the top, man. Pimpin' Rob achieving everyday life of a thug. Give me love, Robert City, creeping to the east. A quarter after 11, it's almost that time for the leprechaun to creep. Tiny just in back, get my gag, plus my backpack. Creeping from about the dog, I gotta get your food. Silver just a mess with the bookshots and the cannons. How in the fuck can I lose?
Jack, hard hit, weeds bleed. That nigga, that nigga, that nigga, that. Gotta be equipped for the Jason, baby. Jack, hard hit, weeds bleed. That nigga, that nigga, that nigga, that. Gotta be equipped for the Jason, baby. Jack, hard hit, weeds bleed. That nigga, that nigga, that nigga, that. Gotta be equipped for the Jason, baby. Jack, hard hit, weeds bleed. That nigga, that nigga, that nigga, that. Gotta be equipped for the Jason, baby.
Gripping on my Glock, looking at my block, seeing what's up like a blunt. Before I hit the track, get my backpack, making sure I got another clip on my get when I
Most Memphis rap is just sinister pianos with like really cryptic audio being played, gunshots, people screaming, stuff like that, and then sinister piano. It's a little formulaic, you know, but there's nothing wrong with a little formulaic music here and there, you know. I enjoy it. I mean, what's not to love, you know? What is not to love? So we're live here on a Tuesday night, 7:30 p.m. Eastern Time. Hope everybody out there is well. Oh boy. Long Truth Social post from Trump. Let's see. I have a Truth Social account. If you Google Truth Social, it's the first thing to come up. It's all endorsements. When is this from? This is on Twitter. It's from today at 2 p.m. Let's see. Hold on. Okay. It's been so long since I've streamed like with any regularity that it's going to take me a little while, guys, to remember even how to use OBS. Can't really see this. I mean, you can see it, but it is in the way of this window. Maybe I can move myself. No. Gotta leave the dono thing. Okay. Alright. Yeah. Then leave this one there. Okay. It's from 2 p.m. I'm working very hard with our great speaker, Mike Johnson, along with Chairman Jim Jordan and Chairman Rick Crawford, to get a clean extension of FISA 702 through the House of Representatives this week. I'm asking Republicans to unify and vote together on the test vote to bring a clean bill to the floor. We need to stick together when this bill comes before the House Rules Committee today to keep it clean. I was a victim of the worst and most illegal abuse of FISA in our nation's history by radical left lunatics who lied to get the FISA court to spy on my 2016 campaign in their attempt to rig the election in favor of Hillary Clinton. Their use of the instrument in the 22... Okay, this is boring. You know, you never want to hear Trump talking about bills. That sucks. And is boring. But he's got a lot to say about it, evidently. We can watch some stuff, maybe. Pass the time. Passing the time on a Tuesday evening. These weeknight streams never do well, huh? I would have thought the title would have caught everybody's attention, but no such luck. Life update. Life update. You know, this is why I don't stream anymore, by the way. But what do you expect? It's tough out there, folks. It's tough out there. So did you quit your job or what? Did you retire for a new one? Welcome, Tipsy Tapsy, Tipsy Tapsy, Tipsy. Let's see. Account created December 2025. Okay, so not that new. I don't know why the alerts are not going, but it says that you have been following me since April 2nd. Hey. So, I don't know. I was hoping to have some more people in here before I get into the whole story. Should I just tell you? Oh, Nep. What's up, bro? I mean, look, the VOD is going to be up on YouTube. I didn't actually upload the VOD on Twitch last time. I should probably do that now while I think of it. We can wait. It's fine. Yeah, let's see if we get at least a few more people in. You know, I want to make sure, like, best case scenario that I have everybody in here that I can. I usually watch your show, but is it more of a podcast type thing? I mean, I don't know. Oh, the radio. Yeah, the radio is done for now. I took a hiatus, indefinite hiatus from the radio. And, you know, all of this is part of, like, a broader theme in my life right now, I guess, of, like, changes, you know? I mean, the real thing with the radio was I took a pause from radio because I put in for the show, like, every semester we have to request the show time slot, and we have to say, like, what hours we want to work, how long, you know, we want the show to be, and then they try to accommodate us, but there's, like, seniority, so if two people want the same spot, the person who's been there longer gets it. You know, it's college radio. It's like, I don't know. You know, it's managed in like a very like old school kind of boomer way by boomers. But it doesn't really matter who gets picked for what. You know, it's not like they care about ratings. And they first changed my show to Tuesday night last semester. It used to be Monday night. And then when it was Tuesday night, I was okay with that. But then this semester, they wanted the show to be 1 hour long. And I don't know, bro. Fuck that. You know, like 1 hour. Like I live an hour away from 1 hour is nothing. I live an hour away from the studio. So, and okay, like, I don't know why so short, dude. Like, they changed it to an hour. They didn't really explain. But here's what I think happened. I don't know if you know who Palmer Luckey is. I couldn't really say this on the air. But Palmer Luckey is the CEO, I guess, of Anduril, which is like a weapons company. And he had some, like, Twitter page, probably managed by some underling, to promote him and, you know, as this, like, really cool personality or whatever the fuck. So I went on the Twitter page and I said that, you know, I hope that he gets hit by a lawnmower. And the radio people found out about this because somebody behind the page complained about me to the radio station. The motherfucker, you know? Yeah. Well, what a dick, though, you know? Like, you're really going to complain to the radio station, what, and try to get me fired? You know, like, fired like it's my job. But you know what I'm saying? Like, you're going to get me thrown off the air like you're such a pussy that, like, you can't, I don't know. And obviously I don't think it was Palmer Luckey himself. It was like some fucking, hey, E-dubs, thanks for the follow. Appreciate it, over on YouTube. Trying to get alerts back for YouTube and Twitch. It's a work in progress. My apologies. But yeah, what a fucking asshole, you know what I mean? So they reported me to the radio station. The radio station warned me, and they said it's fine, it's your own social media, but your social media is affiliated with the radio station, so you really got to be careful. And then, coincidentally or not, this semester they cut the show to 1 hour. So I was like, you know what? I'm not driving it. I did one show, and it took me 40 minutes to get out there. I did the hour show, and then another 40 minutes to come home. And I'm like, it's more driving than airtime. And then when you factor in, like, PSAs and music and the intro, it's really only like 35, 40 minutes of airtime. So I was just like, you know what? This is fucking ridiculous. Like, if you guys are going to cut it down to an hour, then forget it. And, you know, they said it's an open invitation to come back, so maybe I'll do it again. I don't know. But right now I'm kind of the belief that, like, if they did that because the person complained, that's so fucking lame. You know what I mean? Like, you should have just kicked me off the air, I guess, like, at that point. But if they did it just because of a scheduling conflict, I guess that happens, but, you know, that doesn't really work for me. You know, as Hulk Hogan once said, that doesn't work for me, brother. So, yeah, it's not worth it at all. I mean, 1 hour is not enough time to do a show on politics. Like, I can't describe anything in depth. I'll just have to surface level everything. And, like, what's the point of listening to that? You know what I mean? And then someone complained to the station. I mean, listen, dude, radio is like, it's all boomers. So somebody complained to the station that the station is too left-wing. And I'm sure, like, you know, I don't know for sure if they heard my show or not, but obviously I'm very left-wing, and maybe they grouped me in with that whole thing, so I don't know. I was like, kind of like, you know what, fuck this. I mean, like, you guys, I don't know, I was there for a couple years, I did my thing, I did a 3-hour show for one semester, 3 hours every other week. 3 hours is hard, dude. I made it happen, I don't know. People, you know, but then there were people at the station who were, like, fucking annoying. Like this, you know, I couldn't figure out the 5-second delay. And the thing is, I don't have an engineer working with me. I'm working the board myself. And I had no prior experience. And I didn't really understand, like, I saw one training video about it that was, like, 30 seconds long. I didn't really get it. So I decided not to do hey, Lacey, I decided not to do the 5-second delay on the air because I didn't want to risk a caller saying something crazy, which is good for the station, by the way. Instead, I took calls during the music breaks, and then I would respond on the air. And this guy who did a show there for, like, he's been doing a show there for, like, 20 years, some fucking 40-year-old loser, he called in and he was like, hey, I never heard of anybody taking calls during the music. I'm like, I don't know, I'm pretty sure they used to do that on, like, rock radio, like, all the time, but okay. And he was like, well, I was like, well, you know, if you want to show me, I guess you can, you know. And he was like, well, come by when my show's on the air. I was like, yeah, I'm gonna do that on my day off. You fucking loser, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know, it just annoyed me, you know. I've missed everything. You quit WUSB. I mean, yeah, I took a hiatus. You know, I told them that I don't want to do the show this semester, and I just feel like, you know, they said more or less it's an open invitation to come back. And I'm sure there's shifts that are available all the time. I could probably take a shift if I wanted to, but right now I just feel like, nah, like, why the fuck would I do that? You know what I mean? It's a lot of work. It's a lot of work, guys, hauling all the stuff in the studio, the ring light, the show prep. It's not like streaming. I come on stream, I could just hang out with you guys. Like, radio, I tried to be a professional. I'll show you my show notes. Like, it's like in depth, you know? I'm not trying to say it's like working in a salt mine or whatever, but like, you know, or a coal mine or anything like that, or really any type of mine. But I mean, look, this is everything that I ever did on the air in one Google Drive. You can see all my shows. See, December, January. This is up to the last show, or the last few shows, I guess. November, blah blah blah. But like, look at, I don't know. I'll just pick a random one. This is October 4th. You know, it's my little intro. Ceasefire. Trade war. This one's actually sort of short, but I mean, there were shows where I had like pages and pages of notes. Yeah, this is February 2024. Look at this, 6 pages of notes. That's the teacher in you making nice scripts for the show, preparing the lesson session cute. Well, I appreciate that. What's funny is that I got into such a comfort zone with teaching that I actually really wasn't scripting. I mean, I had to write lesson plans, but I would teach the same lessons so often that, like, for so many years, that I could basically just go in and just teach, like, okay, Korean War. All right, I know how to tell this story. I have a handout for it. I have a lesson plan for it. I could do it with my fucking eyes closed, you know? But you're kind of right. I mean, like, it is part of my teaching brain to, like, plan it all out. The real thing is I wanted to, you know, like, I wanted all the facts in front of me because I actually have, like, not the best recall when it comes to factual information. I forget, like, minute details. And I just didn't want to do that on the air. I didn't want to be like, oh, you know, enriching uranium to past 10% is against the JCPOA, you know, and then really it's 3.67%. That number I remember, I don't know why. But like certain things, like, I don't know, I forget dates, you know, history was a weird choice for me as a subject to teach because I forget all sorts of detailed information. So I really, like, you know, I didn't want to miss any of that crucial stuff when I was on the air. But it's about learning the logic of the process. Yeah, that's true. I don't know, they're very similar, radio and teaching and all that stuff, but teaching's better. Teaching is a lot more fun because it's interactive. And, you know, kids are always sort of interesting. Like, kids are really dumb, but they're also really smart. You know, they're dumb in certain ways that it's like, oh man, you could never function anywhere in the world in any other context. You would starve in minutes, you know? But, whoops. But, hold on, sorry. Yeah, working with kids, it's like, yeah, like they're fucking really stupid, but then they're also wise. You know, like they're honest usually about like what they really think about you anyway. And then they have like a weird wisdom because they don't know they don't really know the limits to their own faculties and reasoning yet. So they're like wildly experimental with their thinking, and they go into just totally out there directions, and sometimes they're way off, and then sometimes it's like, wow, I never thought of it that way. That's a really interesting point. You know what I mean? And the other cool thing about kids is when you're a teenager, at least when I was a teenager, I was like this, they get like really interested in certain things, and they learn a lot about it, and they like to talk about it, so they bring it into classroom discussions, and it becomes like this mix of like topics that's like, you know, like they pull stuff out of nowhere. That's kind of cool, you know what I mean? So working with kids is fun. I mean, like, it's also annoying, but it's fun. Radio is, and streaming is cool because it can be interactive. That's my favorite thing to do, by the way. When I stream with you guys and you're like doing a good back and forth with me, I really enjoy that. But when I'm just sitting here just blabbing, and that's kind of what radio is a lot of blabbing, I get tired very quickly. How do they call you behind your back? What do you mean? The students? How do they call you behind your back? I'm not sure what you mean exactly, Lazy. But, but yeah. I don't know. So, I mean, my ideal situation is like streaming or teaching to a really large audience. That's like my dream, you know? And I am going to manifest it into reality. Me. That's the manifesting noise. So, I don't know, should I wait? I mean, I could always cut this into a longer video. Some nickname like Lennon or something. You mean the students? I wish the students knew who Lennon was, even though I've taught them about him dozens of times probably at this point. The kids call me Mr. T. Yeah. Mr. T, yeah. So my last name is Tallman. You kind of see it at the Buy Me a Coffee link here. Which, you know, wasn't my choice. But that's my last name. So I always tell them, like, call me Mr. T because it's just easier. And they don't know who, like, they're so young, dude, they don't really know who Mr. T was. So I avoid those jokes constantly. Like, I pity the fool and various things like that. Hold on, let me forward this to the PPG server. That'll get it some attention, right? Bro, I'm Russian. I don't know Mr. T. Oh, yeah. Mr. T was, if you Google, you could see. Mr. T was like a character on a show called The A-Team. He was And then he became like a media personality, I guess you'd say. And a wrestler and all this other stuff. But yeah. Oh, okay. So you see what I mean, yeah. Mr. T. I mean, it's kind of funny, like, in that sense. I don't know, should we just, like, watch some videos and chill? Or should I tell the story? I really want to tell this story. But I also want to wait until I at least get, like, a few people here. Trump says the war in Iran is over again. Wow. The fuck, man. It's such a weird situation right now. I don't really know. Like, it's been a very like convoluted process, huh? This whole thing. The war in Iran, like lots of interesting turns. Yeah, Trump to Fox News. I think the war is over. I don't know. Like, what can you say? You know, like, they don't really have... I mean, America has no leverage right now. Blocking the Iranian ports seems to work. Seems to be working in the short term, anyway. Also, there are some vessels going through the Strait of Hormuz, from what I understand today. I think it was like, what, was it 24 vessels or something like that? But, you know, I mean, I don't see... Look. Yeah, more than 20 commercial ships. I wonder if we can pull up the... Yeah, well, that's the thing. He keeps saying the war is over. I mean, the war's been over 5,000 fucking times. Let's go to tanker trackers and see. Oh, is this a paid service now? Of course it is. Of course it is. Ah, here we go. Whatever. All right. I mean, you know, looks pretty dead. I don't know. You know, looks pretty dead to me. There's a few tankers going through here. The tanker tracker things always confuse me. Oh, it's Iranian container ship 5 minutes ago. What is that, Panama? I don't know. Doesn't appear to be doing much. What's the Brent crude like right now? Huh. Below $100. Hadn't even looked. So, a high of 101. Really a high of 109 a week ago. I mean, this is one of the key indexes you should look at, because this will tell you the overall, like, it's like, think of it like a generalized price of oil. I don't know. It's hard to say what's going to happen. I mean, like, I've heard there's no off-ramp. I don't know if I believe that. Trump hints, hey, Peaky, Trump hints at additional peace talks. I mean, why? So, look, from what I read today in the Times, there's Alistair. What's up, bro? From what I read today, from everything I understand, the reason the Islamabad talks fell through is pretty much because the Trump administration demanded zero enrichment for 20 years. Iran is to have no enriched uranium at all. They want it moved out of the country. And then the crazy one that I heard was they want them to dismantle their infrastructure, their nuclear enrichment infrastructure. Which is like basically just like, what the fuck? Like, why don't you just let Trump go and piss in the Ayatollah's mouth at that point? You know what I mean? Like, why would Iran ever agree to that when they still have pretty firm control over the Strait of Hormuz? You know, and it's funny because you read in the New York Times, you read in all these publications like, well, you know, the Iranian military is destroyed, and it's like, it's really not. It's really not destroyed. I mean, the Navy may be... First of all, the U.S. has naval supremacy regardless. But second of all, I mean, they've admitted that Iran still has their fast attack boats. I don't know. Like, I'll tell you, though, looking at this, I mean, this is why Trump is not bugging the fuck out. This is why. Because if this were over $100, it seems like as soon as this is over $100, that's when he really starts flipping his shit. You know, and the economic reverberations from oil being this expensive are enormous, and they're going to become greater the longer this goes on, even if Brent crude goes under $100 a barrel. You know, the reason is, like, you guys got to remember, like, first of all, oil is not the only thing that comes in and out of the Strait of Hormuz. You also have fertilizer. You also a third of the world's fertilizer, and lots of other goods. So what you're talking about is a supply crunch of lots of different things. Oil is important because oil is an input for all shipping, so it has an inflationary impact on everything. So that's double inflationary impact on food due to fertilizer and oil. You know, it's really not a good situation, and it's you know, actually pretty alarming. I don't know. You know, I mean, like, it's like, is it territory where you should stock up on dry goods? It might be, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know. I don't know if it's going to be that kind of situation tomorrow, but it looks like we're moving in that direction. What's the off-ramp? I don't know. Is Trump going to back down? I think it is, like, kind of apocalyptic in a lot of ways, just based on the fact that the potential for things to go really bad is very high, and there doesn't seem to be an exit strategy. You know, forget off-ramps, just an exit strategy, just a way to return to a new normal. It doesn't... Where is it? You know, like, what's the new normal from here? I mean, if you end the conflict today, then Iran makes tolls, you know, receives money by collecting tolls on traffic through the strait. They rebuild their Navy and Air Force over time. Their missile program becomes more sophisticated. You know, the Iranians adapted from the 12-Day War. That's probably the most... I think I've talked about this already, but it's one of the more impressive things about Iran, with the Mosaic strategy, with the, you know, the mobile missile launchers and decoys. And, you know, I'm not saying that they were wiped out in the 12-Day War. Like, a lot of people were saying that. That's not at all accurate. But they also took a heavy hit on the 12-Day War, and they took heavy hits at the start of this war, mostly by killing leadership. And, hey, you know, they're resilient. What can you say? So if you end the conflict today, they're in a great position. Iran is... It's not an exaggeration at all, excuse me, to say that Iran is like a regional superpower if you end the war today. And I don't know if you guys saw that. I posted it in the Discord, which was in the New York Times. I can probably pull the article up. Not that you really need... Yeah, I don't know how important this is for you guys to see it physically, but... Okay. Israelis... Also, the New York Times is like so, at times they're so bad with Israel. It's fucking unbelievable how bad they are sometimes. Israelis don't feel much like victors in war with Iran. Aww. They don't feel like victors? That's really sad. They're killing fucking thousands of Lebanese and Palestinian and Iranian civilians, but they don't feel like they're winning. Oh my God. We're living in hell, guys. I say it all the time. We're living in like a real deal hell. Cannot stress this enough. You're living in a hell. And I'm here with you. And we are experiencing hell together. Let's see, though. Okay. So, barely a third of Israelis now believe that when Israel and the United States disagree, Israel can act on its own judgment, according to an opinion poll released on Sunday by the Institute of National Security Studies in Tel Aviv. Well, here's the thing. Israel depends on the United States not only for its defense, Israel also depends on the United States to wage its wars for it. You know, Israel is totally capable of doing some Mossad op where they blow up beepers or pagers. Israel can bomb Lebanon, they can bomb Gaza, they can bomb Iran, but they cannot defeat an enemy without the U.S. They're unable to do it because they're a casualty-averse military. I mean, the IDF now is entering, has entered deep behind the Lebanese border, but, that's after years of, sustained bombing. And even then, there's like a couple IDF soldiers die. It's like considered a major incident and, like a huge national shame. And, and listen, I mean, do I need to spell it out for you? Like, it's Jewish supremacy. That's what it is. It's like an Israeli Jewish life is like more valuable than a Lebanese life, than a Gazan, than an American. It's just more valuable. And so when an Israeli Jewish soldier dies, it's like a fucking travesty beyond belief, but 1,000 Lebanese babies are set on fire in a field, and Netanyahu jacks off onto them. Oh, well, you know what I mean? Like, that's war, sorry, like, I don't know. I mean, you guys know this by now, but it's like, they're very demonic. It's very fucking demonic shit. Peaky says, my take is that Iran does not pose a threat as the aggressor. If they did want to nuke, it's to protect themselves from attack. And then Lazy says, I've heard today that some Russian analysts saying that USA tries to dismantle NATO by starting economic crisis in Western Europe, but to me it doesn't make any sense, plus his analytics fail all the time. I don't know if you heard that from Professor Jiang or not. I mean, to dismantle NATO, like, look, a pragmatic president, any other American president, like any other typical deep state, liberal, globalist type president would look at it like this. The war in Iran will eventually force Europe into a position where they have to once again become reliant on Russian energy. They're also going to be reliant on American energy, which does benefit us. I mean, will that destroy NATO if you choke off their oil supply from the Middle East? Will it destroy NATO? I don't know about that. The only party with the power to destroy NATO is America, because if America pulls out of NATO, NATO collapses. There's no NATO without the United States. So I would think if that's Trump's plan, he would probably pull out of NATO because NATO is not committed to enforcing the blockade, or NATO is not committed to opening up the Strait of Hormuz. And Trump could say that, well, you're in breach of this agreement, we're out of here. I don't know, like choking off the oil supply to Europe. I know Trump is stupid, but that would be giving him enough credit that he thought of that as a potential outcome here. I don't think he thinks that deeply about any of this stuff. And then the other thing is, like, if he's smart enough to know that, he's probably also smart enough to know the massive economic impact that would have on everybody else. And most importantly for Trump, the massive economic impact that would have on the stock market in the U.S. So I don't think that this was in the plan. I think Trump, based on what I've read and everything, and I read about this basically, I'm not trying to say I'm an expert, but I read about this basically around the clock every day. You know, story after report after video after, you know, Telegram post from dozens of different accounts and pages. I mean, just like a lot of you guys, I'm sure. But, I mean, I feel like I've been absorbed in this for a while. And what I would say is that if there's one thing that's clear to me about this, I don't think there was really a plan, in a sense that I don't think this was supposed to last 40 days. I think this was supposed to last 2 weeks, maybe 4 weeks at most. And what they expected was a change of regime, an unconditional Iranian surrender, complete dismantlement of the nuclear program and the ballistic missile program. And that's basically what the Israelis were selling, and that's what Trump bought. And Dan Kane and J.D. Vance knew it was bullshit, and they let Trump walk into this. And why did they do that? I think part of the reason they let Trump walk into this and make an ass out of himself, and part of it is J.D. Vance. J.D. Vance also, in all likelihood, leaked the story to, I talked about this in the last stream, in all likelihood leaked the story to the New York Times that behind the scenes, he was one of the only two people who opposed Trump. And this is all probably like a quiet marketing like attempt for Vance to run in 2028. But the rest of his advisors, I mean, just read anything about the Trump White House. They all kind of have their heads down and they essentially just like let him do whatever. Nobody's willing to speak out against what Trump is doing. And if you want to know the truth, you want to know the real like interesting theory behind that. The real interesting theory behind that is that all of this is a means of discrediting a populist president who's not from the professional political class. You know, they don't really care what happens to Trump because he's only going to serve 2 terms and that's it. But after this, then the political establishment can say, hey, you know, look, the establishment, just like they did after the first Trump term, by the way, the establishment needs to regain control. We need stability. We need to get things back on the right page. And I would imagine if you asked most Americans right now, a lot of them would prefer the establishment approach. You know, they would prefer like a Marco Rubio to be the president. You know, and so it'll be whoever can market themselves as the most stable, the most competent, you know, mix in a little experience, never hurts, not ideological in opposition to Trump's like radical ideological approach. You know, they're letting him do this and they're letting him make mistakes and they're letting him fuck up. But I think I got on this tangent because we were talking about, this wasn't supposed to last any longer than 2 to 4 weeks. And I think Trump was convinced that once it went beyond that mark, or it was clear it would go beyond that mark, that he needed to either blow up Iran, just fuck shit up bad, and maybe even nuke them if he has to, destroy all the power plants in the country, which will take years to rebuild, send them into perpetual dark. I mean, he's doing the same thing in Cuba, you know what I mean? It's just like do the same fucking thing to the Iranians, whatever consequences, and cripple them and crush them and leave nothing there but scraps for the Israelis to pick up and then call it a day. Alistair says, Trump is mad that other countries didn't fold immediately. I mean, that's definitely true with Iran, you know, and he was sold on the idea that they would by the Israelis. And, you know, any armchair analyst such as myself could have told you that they wouldn't fold. You know what I mean? I don't know. I believe the oligarchs have threatened Trump's family if he doesn't comply with the war in Iran. I don't know about that one. I mean, it's an interesting take. Look, Trump's family are the oligarchs. I have the most budget cup you've ever seen. I know, it's like a jar, right? This is a working man's glass, okay? This is the glass of the working class. I made videos about it back when he first got elected. Trump's geopolitics wasn't going to work out in the end. Yeah, he's a fucking you know, it's like, dude, like, I don't know. This is the thing. This is the thing, man. Like, this is an unpopular opinion nowadays. You know what I mean? Especially on the internet. So, rusty can with rainwater. Well, that's a step down. That's going to be me now that I'm unemployed. Support the show at buymeacoffee.com. Oh! Thank you very much, someone. I don't know who that was, but thank you very much. Appreciate it very much, very much. $10. Now we're getting the ball rolling here on a Tuesday night. Stop Animal Murder and Torture says, you had enough of the youth, huh? Man, should I tell the story now? Now there's at least like 4 people in here or whatever. Yes. Salty is here. What's up, bro? Good to see you. Well, just to cap it off with Trump, and then I'll get into the job stuff, but to finish my thought, and this is piggybacking off Alistair. Hey, KH, thank you so much for the donation, man. I really appreciate it. Thank you, thank you, thank you so much. Okay. I just think Trump is a dumb fuck. Really, you know what I mean? Like, I just think, I don't know, it's no deeper than that. You know what I mean? Like, people overthink this stuff because it's their job. You know, they want to make like political content and interesting, and they want to analyze Trump. And, you know, the interesting thing about Trump has always been, why do people support him? He is not complex. And maybe it's just because I grew up in New York, or maybe it's because I'm a little older and I remember Trump before he wanted to become president. And I remember him as a celebrity. But like, it's just, there's not a lot of depth to what he is. I'm not saying that he doesn't have some degree of intelligence, like clearly he does, you know what I mean? Like, or did, or whatever. And obviously charismatic and funny and all that stuff. But, you know, this notion that he's like a political genius, I mean, he's, a genius with branding, you know, he's basically a genius at manipulating the media. Those are 2 huge strengths he possesses. He's also like a sociopath. You know what I mean? I don't mean to sound like a soy jack. I know that's exactly what I sound like, but it's true. Like, he is a sociopath. Like, he doesn't care. He has no moral compass whatsoever. Completely, like, I would argue, like, almost like childlike sense of, not even childlike, let's say teenage. Like a teenager's sense of right and wrong. Like, right and wrong just don't matter. You know, he's like all go, all gas, no brakes, just makes decisions. I mean, if you ever hear stories of people who worked with the guy, not at high business levels, although those people as well, but I know people who, I used to work with a guy who was a parking attendant, who saw Trump all the time. He was parking attendant at one of the buildings he owned. He's just a fucking asshole. He's just an asshole rich guy who does whatever he wants. And, you know, if you ever have a difficulty with him, he just blows right past you. Fuck you. I don't have time for you. Like, so I only bring that up. Again, I'm not trying to soy jack. Like, I honestly think every president is a little bit of a sociopath, but of a different variety than Trump. Trump is a specific kind of sociopath where, you know, he cares about what he cares about. Media attention, the stock market, his own bottom line, you know, his family's bottom line, his legacy, you know, but like the legacy as he perceives it, you know, his fame, glory, like he cares about that stuff. Past that, he doesn't really have a bigger vision for how all of this works. He knows who rules the world because he travels in those circles. That I agree with, 100%. But I actually think that that's kind of the evidence of the fact that he's full of shit when he talks about the elites and all that stuff. And honestly, a lot of that language was Steve Bannon. I mean, let's give credit where it's due. It was Steve Bannon. It was Alex Jones. It was Michael Savage. It was people who, Trump kind of ripped off. You know what I mean? Like, it's kind of fascinating when, like, you look at, like, the bigger, like, scene of, like, conservative voices who were around, like, during the Obama years, when Trump made his political shift to the right. Like, Trump is just parroting all of those things. He used to go on Michael Savage. He was tight with Alex Jones. Alex Jones had a press pass in the first Trump administration. And what he did was he borrowed, and Steve Bannon, he borrowed that language, those ideas, and he did his own thing with it and just sort of flippantly said shit, and whatever consequence happened from that happened. Am I attracted to men? I am not. Unfortunately for you. Everybody's attracted to me, but I am not attracted to men. Sorry to say. So anyway, how do you respond to that on the fly? You know what I mean? Like, streaming is like that. You have one person like Peaky here who's asking or making a poignant comment, and then you got someone asking you if you want to, someone basically walking up to you with their dick in one hand, like, do you like men? Like, all right. I think you, sir, need a break from the internet. There's E. Wade. What's up? E. Wade coming through. I haven't seen you, dude, in forever. I thought you gave up, like, Twitch and all of this stuff. You get a couple trolls every once in a while. We welcome the trolls. All right, why don't I tell you guys the story already? I've given you enough of a lead-in. So, look, I'll try to make this to the point. You guys know I can ramble. All right, so look. I got you. Good. Good to see you, Eric. So look, I've been a teacher for almost 10 years. And the thing is, when I went into the profession, I didn't really know what else to do with my life. I was, I think you guys know, like when I was a young man, I got involved with drugs and I made a lot of bad decisions and I had no job. And, well, actually I had jobs, but I mean, I was doing custodial work and I was just fucking around and, whatever, like using. And when I got clean, I went back to school and I kind of just like stumbled into teaching. It was not a long-term plan I had. I just took some classes in history and I was like, I really love history and I don't know how I'll make that a job. But I kind of came up with the idea that maybe I could teach. And, I went to a 4-year school. I went to Stony Brook University, started taking classes there, and I entered the education program. And I was working, I was going to school, I was really hustling. And in 2015, I finished school. And I had a little bit of a holdup with my license, but eventually I got that. And I'll tell you that story some other time. It's a good story. But I had a holdup with my license, but I ended up getting it squared away, and I got my license finalized in 2017. And then I started substitute teaching in 2017. And Eric can tell you guys, Eric can attest to this, or if any of you guys know teachers, they'll agree with me. Subbing is like terrible generally because you're not really teaching. You're just sort of like taking attendance and then putting out fires. So I hated subbing. Got a job in the city. Was teaching in Brooklyn for a little while, 3 years, through COVID, all that stuff. And then I found this job through a friend at a company, which I guess, should I reveal it now? I don't know. It's tempting. Maybe I shouldn't say the name. Okay, whatever. The name of the organization, who cares, right? The name of the organization is, okay, there's one yes and one no. Damn. Ooh. I'm going to hold off for now. Here's a neat streamer idea. If I get another donation, I will reveal the name of the company. It's no pressure, but if I get another donation, I'll reveal the name. If I don't get another donation, that's fine. We just won't name the company. I couldn't be a high school teacher. I'm too elitist and impatient. Maybe college. Well, and being a college professor is like, there's like no jobs and it's way more school. But I had the same idea. Is it an organization like Teach for America? It is not. It is not an organization like Teach for America. So the organization is a nonprofit outpatient drug rehab. And the thing is, they are a huge organization. They operate, I don't know how many sites, but it's over a dozen, I'm pretty sure. And they actually came into existence from two separate nonprofits merging. And the funny thing about it is, I told you guys I had like issues with drugs. Well, when I was a teenager, I actually went to high school at this program for a year. And I, whatever, like it was a very different program when I went there. By the time I met the director, or I actually ran into the director, I knew the director from something else. She was a personal friend. And she was the director there and told me about the job. And I was like, damn, I didn't even know they still had a school. Because the school... Oh, shit. All right. I'm a man of my word. I'm a man of my word. Okay. So, do your own research. Yeah, sorry about the sound. I don't know. Do your own research, but the name of the organization is Samaritan Daytop Village. That is the name of the organization. Samaritan Daytop Village. SDV for short. Okay, this is their website. Right. This guy has been on some hard times, but now they gave him a book, and he's doing better. These ladies, can you guess which one is on drugs? It's all of them, right? But now they're better. Okay, so it's an outpatient drug treatment program. Okay? Samaritan Daytop Village. It's mostly, I think it's exclusive to New York. So they operate, okay, here's what happened. Their chief clinical officer, who I'll let you guys look her up. Their chief clinical officer, she decided, the school closed, but she decided to reopen it. And really, she decided to reopen it because it's a money-making venture. And here's how it works. So she opens the school under the name Daytop Preparatory School. And it sounds really nice, right? a preparatory school. Wow. And so the old school used to be what they call a therapeutic community. And therapeutic communities are very out of date. Have you guys heard of that show, The Program on Netflix? Yeah. It was kind of like that back in the day. The Program. Okay. Or something like that. It's old disciplinary school. Well, that was the old program. They got rid of that. When the chief clinical officer at the organization opened the new school, her plan was basically to just bring kids in and collect money from their districts. So the way it works is schools in public education will send their kids out of the district if the kid can't be mainstreamed anymore, if they're just a fuck up, right? Drugs or behaviors or whatever. And a lot of schools have alternative programs, but they might find a school like Daytop if they have a kid who really needs therapy and really needs like certain services. So basically, Eric probably figured this out already, and I'm sure a lot of you guys figured it out as well. This is essentially what they call in the trade a dumping ground. So a dumping ground is essentially the district has some kid who's fucking up, and they're like, we don't know what to do with him. We don't know what to do with her. Send him there. And because Samaritan Daytop Village is a program without any real goals, we just took everybody. So originally it was supposed to be kids who had drug problems, but what it became was kids with schizophrenia, kids with borderline personality disorder, kids with, manic depression, kids with drugs, kids with behaviors, kids who really had no issues, but they just stopped going to school for one reason or another, like no major issues, but they just fucking stopped going to school. So you pile this whole eclectic group into one room, and you can imagine what kind of environment that is. Now, look, I specialize in kind of messed up kids. I worked in the city, and I was a messed up kid too, so I'm sort of the guy for the job. You know what I mean? And it worked out. They offered me a good salary. But when I started there, it was really obvious that the place was like a shit show. Like, it was just completely fucking mismanaged, completely unprofessional. And it was obvious to me that they were just trying to collect money. The first red flag of many, we had a 14-year-old student who had an 18-year-old boyfriend. Okay, that's a problem. The 18-year-old boyfriend used to wait outside for her. He didn't go to the school, but she did. And so she was 14, he was 18, and he would wait for her outside of the school and was like stalking her, essentially. So somehow he like waltzed into the building and told them that he wanted to sign up for the school. And really what he wanted was to follow the girl, right? Because she broke up with him and he was like stalking her. They enrolled him into the school. Okay, everybody in the building knew what his deal was and what her deal was. They enrolled him in the school. And that was like within my first month of working there, and I was like, oh my God, like what the fuck? Like, how is this going to work? He's stalking her. He's an abusive boyfriend. Like, what are we going to do about this situation? Why would you guys let him in? And everybody was just like, well, that's just how it is. So he starts bringing drugs into the building, weapons, all this kind of stuff. Like, not all at once, but as time goes on. It was weird for a 14-year-old to date an 18-year-old. In my opinion, yes, of course it is. But even if that's okay or acceptable by your standards, the point is he was stalking her and like harassing her and abusing her. So even if he was 15 and she was 14, why would you bring him in? It's a known problem. This is like common fucking sense. But whatever. He was coming in, he was bringing drugs in, weapons, all that kind of shit. And he came in with a baton. Do you guys know what that is? It's like a police weapon. I don't know where he got it, but he came in with one. They took it, or a nightstick, right? They took it from him and then ended up giving it back to him at the end of the day. Like, you can't make this shit up, like, and it was just ridiculous. It felt like the administration went above and beyond to make excuses for him. And I was just so disgusted and so fucking angry. And of course he was a total asshole, very disrespectful, like impossible, had no interest in being in school, failed everything, just sat there as a cantankerous asshole. And we couldn't give him consequences. They wouldn't let us suspend him. They wouldn't let us put him in detention. There is no detention. We couldn't hold him to any kind of standards. It just went on. And we were basically expected to just eat it, right? Just eat it. That same year, we got a kid with extreme violent tendencies. He was assaulted by like a 30-something-year-old who gave him brain damage. He comes to us. He's ready to fight all of us. He hides in the bathroom. We try to talk to him. He's threatening to kill us. It's this crazy situation. No consequences, no punishments, nothing. They just, same situation. Kiss his ass, play nice to him, blame us for any incidents. So it's this really bad first year, but I stick it out because, fuck, like, you know, it's not easy finding teaching jobs on Long Island or the city. I'm going to hang out and try to make it work. Well, the second year is a catastrophe. And actually, it's right around the same time I started streaming. But it was a fucking disaster. Much worse than the first year. And, you know, just insane chaos. Kids who are out of control. No order, no organization, you know, just disaster. Kids bringing drugs in, smoking in the school, smoking in the bathrooms. You know, it's a nightmare. And it was really bad. I had kids, you know, trying to hit me, and I would complain, and they were like, well, the student said you're being a pussy, you know, and it's like, I can't do anything about that. I can't fucking knock the kid out, you know what I mean? I'll go to jail. I can't do anything, you know, but I'm just like, you know, kids are like going like, yeah, fuck you. And I'm like, is this okay? You know, and they're like, well, I don't know. Like the student said that I had a counselor come up to me who I was complaining to the counselor about the kid. And she goes, well, he says you're being a bitch. And I was like, what the fuck is going, you know, is someone playing a joke on me? You know, like I'm trying to help this fucking retard. You know, excuse my language, but I'm trying to help this dumb fuck. And you're telling me that he thinks I'm a pussy? Like, why don't you go talk to him? And, you know, am I a teacher? Like, you know, and that's the thing. Like, my friends who are in other countries, like, this is how they look at education in America. It's like crazy. But, yeah, high school, right? But the thing is, you guys got to remember, like, I taught in a really bad school in the city. Like, this is uniquely bad. Like, it was like unusually bad, where things are flipped on you and you're kind of gaslit and you're blamed. And one day the other teacher was out sick and they left me with like all of the kids. And I called my boss because she promised that she was going to come in to help. And then she told me that she wasn't. And I called her. I'm like, well, why aren't you coming in? And she just fucking unloaded on me. She's like, you got to handle it. You got to figure it out. This is on you. And I was like, what do you mean it's on me? So the other person calls out sick and it all falls on me? Well, then nothing's getting done. I don't know. So it was just this terrible, like, second year. So at the end of the second year, here's where it gets good, guys. So painting a picture for you here, it's a really bad situation. At the end of the second year, the organization tells us that they're launching a new program in the same building. They are opening up a methadone clinic. Now, for those of you who don't know, methadone is a drug that you take when you're physically addicted to heroin, fentanyl, any opioid. And the methadone makes it so that you don't get sick from withdrawal. Okay, it's very useful if you're a drug addict and you get sick all the time from not having your drugs, right? You take the methadone and you're not sick anymore. The problem with methadone is that since you give the addict something to make the sickness go away, they just use on top of that. And methadone clinics are like notorious for mostly serving active drug addicts, right? So what that means, though, is that we have a high school sharing the same building as a methadone clinic. So what that means is that you have minors between the ages of 14 and 18 literally in the same building, like the same bathrooms, the same common areas as active adult heroin addicts, fentanyl addicts, crack addicts. They're all in this, like, commingling, congregating near each other. You know, I hope it's clicking in your head how much of a problem this is. So everybody is, like, up in arms about it in the building. A lot of people resigned. I was told, hey, look, we're going to keep the kids separate. We're going to, you know, we're going to do, like, what we can to manage this. But it's bad. I mean, like, within the first year, like, you have people overdosing in the parking lot. Like, guys, there's laws that you can't build a bar within 1,000 feet or 1,000 whatever yards. I think it's 1,000 feet of a school. You can't smoke cigarettes on school grounds. It's like totally against the law. And they have a methadone clinic downstairs. There's people fucking smoking crack in the parking lot, smoking crack in the bathrooms. You know, one of the nurses at the methadone clinic fucked a client in the bathroom. Like, it's like, dude, like, what the fuck is going on? And the only reason that they were able to get away with this is because the kids that we serve are, like, basically, you know, kids that nobody else wants to deal with. So they throw them in this school, and it's just like, well, nobody gives a shit. Our hands are tied. You know what I mean? And it was actually, like, just unbelievable, the stuff that was going on there. So over time, like, I just became really disillusioned and frustrated and kind of, like, tuned it out. And, you know, I in my personal life, like, I got married. I had a lot of things come up in my own life that were, like, just changing things for me. And I kind of realized, like, you know, this place is, like, making me fucking miserable. You know, because there were so many issues all the time, like, out of control, totally illegal, totally unethical, totally unacceptable things happening all the time, constantly, every day. And, you know, like, the kids, as much as they annoyed me, they were the ones who were really suffering. The kids were suffering because they're exposed to this fucking shit. You know, they're exposed to people smoking crack and blowing each other and you know, like, this hell. And it was upsetting. And it was, like, it was really bad. And, you know, I came this close to getting out of there. Last year, I had a couple different interviews with some schools. One interview, I had an inside connection, and it fell through. Another school, I made it through 3 rounds of interviews, didn't get the job. Another school, Zoom interview, didn't get the job. I got all these, you know, emails of interest, wanting my resume, never heard back. I couldn't get out of there. And I was feeling like hopeless. I was like, I'm never going to get out of this place. I'm stuck here forever. You know, I'm basically fucked. You know, and I started thinking about it like, man, what if I'm here another 5 years? You know, yeah, place designed to fail. What if I'm here for another 10 years? God forbid. You know, like hey, Krail of Xanth. I agree, by the way. Yeah, if you do like, in teaching, they have you do a demo lesson where you actually teach a class. You know, and I've had demo lessons that went great, and I just never heard anything. It's like, this is fucking ridiculous, but whatever. You know, like, the other thing, dude, Krail of Xanth makes a good point, and this is one of the things that's really, like, just turned me off so much to teaching as a profession, is, like, these schools, you guys gotta know, like, Long Island teaching jobs are, like, the cream of the crop. It's, like, really good, because the kids generally are good, the schools are good, the pay is good. So it's impossible, exactly, it's impossible to get in there. So what they do is they know that there's so much interest in those positions, there's like hundreds of applicants per position, that they just have zero respect for you professionally or your fucking time. So, like, I was working full time, and when a school would finally hit me up for an initial interview, they'd be like, yeah, you got to come in Tuesday at 10:30. And it's like, okay, well, I have work. You know what I mean? Like, why you see on my resume, I have work. Like, I work full time. What, am I going to take a day off? It's like, okay, well, I have to do it because it's like a lottery ticket, right? Like, I have to do it. I have to take the day off. I have to, you know, waste my PTO time and go and put a suit on and dry clean my suit and prepare a thing and do a whole fucking whatever for my resume, make my resume nice and pay for a resume service and, you know, all this stuff. And you go out there and then it turns out they do an initial interview, but it's not a real position. They just have to interview a certain number of candidates for every opening as per the union. Sorry, this was a fake one. Thanks for taking the day off. You know what I mean? Like, So it was, the whole thing is like a humiliation ritual. It was like just fucking outrageous, you know what I mean? And Kralev Xanth makes a great point there. It's like, you know, you don't get paid for this stuff. You just have to do a song and dance for them. You know what I mean? And it's like demoralizing. And I start to feel like, you know, I feel like I'm a good teacher, but like, I don't know, if I can't find a job, maybe I'm not. You know, maybe I'm not a good teacher. Maybe I'm not really good at this at all. And I just don't have what it takes because I'm trying and trying and trying and trying and it's not happening. And it feels like it's never going to happen. So, you know, I basically this year started branching out as much as possible. And I took professional courses in AI and computer science and data and all this different stuff. And I started, you know, really investing in myself and building multiple resumes for different roles. And I started applying everywhere that I can fucking think of. Every job that I could think of. I had to have sent out 50 to 100 resumes. I'm not kidding. And I'm just getting desperate because it's worse and worse and worse. And yeah, I realize that, Alistair. You know, like computer science is not a great career choice right now, especially with the AI stuff. What I was trying to do was market myself as someone with education experience who specialized in ed tech. So I took the AI and the STEM courses to sort of integrate that into my new me, my new professional me, right? Like it was like, okay, I could be an education ed tech consultant or an ed tech salesperson or, you know, whatever. But, you know, and maybe that's still possible down the road. But like right now, there was really no traction, you know, and I sent out, like I told you, 50 to 100 resumes, I think, and nothing. No bites. So everything came to a head in February. Okay, in February, everything came to a head. It says we're back from the ed break. Everything came to a head in February. In February, I just couldn't fucking take it anymore. I would say the turning point was I went on a vacation with my family. And the vacation, there were some hiccups and some stress. And I just felt like, wow, like I blew the vacation. And now I got to go back here. And like, I don't know if you guys have ever experienced anything like this with burnout. But it got to a point where like I stopped getting angry and stopped getting frustrated and stopped getting upset. And I just stopped caring at all. And I completely just felt like my brain tune out. Thank you, Peaky. I appreciate that, man. And that was the other thing. Like I was trying to do all this extracurricular stuff at the same time. And still managing to teach. But, yeah, like I got to a point where I just like, I couldn't take it anymore. And I felt myself like break kind of. And I was like, you know, like this feels like I'm going to suffer the rest of my life. Because there's no clear way out of here. You know what I mean? Yeah, dissociation. You know, like it just feels like I've lost myself. You know what I mean? And anyway, we had an incident. Right around the end of February where we got this new kid who has a history of assaulting teachers, assaulting staff members, assaulting other kids. So a huge liability once again. He gets thrown into the school. And he comes into class one day for no reason and he just loses it. I don't know what the fuck his problem is. He's like yelling and screaming and, you know, just being crazy. And like, you know, I don't know what to do. So I basically tell our aide, I'm like, listen, you got to take him to my supervisor. I don't know what to do. Yeah, dissociation is the only way to get through the day. So he sends... my aide, she sends the student to my boss. And something happens in the office where he just fucking loses it. Now, nobody got hurt, thank God, but he lost it. And the aide freaked out and ran out of the building and quit on the spot, more or less. So the kid, like, you know, broke her. And then we had a meeting after it to, like, talk about what happened. And me and the other teacher were like, you know, listen, we have some real concerns here. Like, I don't know what we're going to do about so-and-so. And my boss just said, I guess you got to figure it out. And in the same meeting was the assistant director for my building. And the assistant director, she's supposed to be like the go-to person when my boss is unable to solve a problem. And my boss was like, you guys got to figure it out. And so, like, we just sort of turned to the assistant director, and she goes, well, I don't know if you guys got my emails yet, but I want you to start using Microsoft Teams. And I don't know if you know what I mean, guys, but, like, sometimes when you're at the breaking point and someone says something that, like, you can't explain why it makes you angry, like, I can't really tell you why I got so angry. But she was like, well, I want you to start using Microsoft Teams. Like, in any other context, that wouldn't make me mad. But it was just like, all of this shit went down today. All of this shit is going on around here all the time. We're surrounded by fucking chaos. We have children we're supposed to be caring for who are in danger. And, hey, Desperado, what's up, man? We have kids who are in danger. They're in fucking danger. Guys, they're around convicted sex offenders. Convicted fucking adult sex offenders are in the same building. We have kids who are in danger. We have a violent, potentially violent situation. Yeah. Potentially violent situation brewing any minute now. Our boss tells us basically go fuck yourself, and your response is, did you join Microsoft Teams yet? Like, if I had a fucking, I can't even say it on Twitch. If I gotta talk like this 1984 dystopian. If I had a pew pew. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, what the fuck, man? You know what I mean? Like, how fucking dare you sit there and be in charge of other human beings doing anything? This fucking enormous fat monster who's sitting in one of my students' desks and is spilling out of it. Half her fucking body is spilling out of it. And she's like, well, did you join Microsoft Teams yet? I wanted to be like, bro, if you don't take that bullshit out of my fucking face right now, I lost it, you know, internally, because I'm a professional. I kept it internal, but I broke. Something broke within me. And I went home, man. I went home that day, and I was just like, yo, I don't know if I could do this. I feel like I'm going to kill myself. You know what I mean? I feel like I'm going to kill myself, or I feel like I'm going to kill someone else. I feel like crack, I see clients smoking crack. I want to go smoke crack with them because fuck this shit. I want to go do heroin and methadone all day. And that sounds awesome, honestly, compared to this. You know what I mean? Give me a fucking crack rock. I don't know. Like, and I felt like I was just spiraling, you know? And I went home to my wife. I go home to my wife and I'm like, honey, look, I can't do this anymore. I can't do this anymore. And, listen, guys, my life advice to you, should you choose to take it or not, is entirely up to you. But my life advice to you is marry the right person. Okay? Marry the right person. Because I dated a bunch of women in my life that they wouldn't have answered me this way. But my wife said to me, she goes, honey, listen, I know it's going to be difficult. I know it's going to be hard on us. We'll get through it. I think you should resign. Listen, man, that's a ride or die. You know what I mean? Like, honestly, I've never had anybody offer it. I would love to tell you, you know, I dated a girl for a couple of years before my wife who literally, like, could not even fucking, like, pay for dinner. You know what I mean? Couldn't even drive or, like, get me places that I needed to go, or, like, get herself places that she, you know, couldn't handle the slightest bit of fucking adversity. You know, my wife, you know, I don't know, man. And she goes, honey, I know you would do it for me. Hey, man. You know, listen, so I did what I had to do, bro. I got the fuck out of there. I went in, I gave them 4 weeks notice. 4 weeks. And they were like, well, what are you planning to do after this? And I was like, well, I don't really know. But I'll help you guys. Dude, Krail of Xanth was saying before about getting paid for certain things. You know, I'm a real asshole, I guess, because I didn't even like try to negotiate. And they didn't offer me more money. Then they posted my position, and the salary they posted was more than what I was making. So, yeah, I'm planning to do anything but this, exactly. As a garbage interface looks and you yeah. Microsoft Teams, you mean? It's shit. Yeah, it's retarded. So I just got out of there, bro. I got out of there. You know, I did what I had to do, and I helped them. I helped them interview candidates. I interviewed like 4 teachers. You know, I prepared as the kids and my co-teacher as best I could, and I was just like, I'm out. And my last day was Monday. My last fucking day was Monday. And so there it is. I quit fucking teaching. I was there for 5 goddamn years. No, this is water, unfortunately. 5 goddamn years. 5 years. And I've been teaching for 9 plus, so almost 10. And, you know, what am I going to do now? I don't know, bro. I don't know what I'm going to do. I don't know if you guys heard, it's like the worst job market ever. Even though we added 10 billion jobs last quarter, supposedly. Or last month, or whatever. You know, there's no fucking jobs. There's nothing. I apply for everything, I don't hear back. Yeah. Good stream, yeah. Well, yeah. Look, so here's the point in telling you guys this story, other than just to hang out, is to tell you that you're going to be seeing a lot more of me, because I got nothing but time on my hands now. I got nothing but fucking time on my hands now. And I guess it's a blessing, you know what I mean? I mean, like, it gives me a chance to write, it gives me a chance to read and research more, it gives me a chance to do things that I like doing. You know, I have some other little projects that are in the works that I can't really get into right now. But, you know, hopefully we're going to be seeing a lot more of each other, you know what I mean? Because I got nothing else going on, motherfucker. And, like, you know what the sad thing is about streaming? Even though I think it's fair to say, yes, Substack. I do write on Substack if you guys would be interested in checking me out. nonsmoker.substack.com. For all of your non-smoker essentials. Latest article is The Persistent Myth of American Moral Imperialism. Check it out. You're going to be seeing a lot more of me because I got nothing better to do. And the sad thing about streaming is, even though I think it's safe to say that I'm a failed streamer at this point also, which is fine. You know, there are many other failed streamers. I'm just another one on the pile. You know what I mean? But what's crazy is even as a failed streamer, I still get income from streaming. I still get $50 a month from my fucking Twitch subscriptions. I don't know how that's even possible, but it speaks to the community that I did build at one time. Wear a bikini, you might do better. Yeah, maybe. It speaks to the community that I built. It speaks to all of you guys. You know, I mean everybody, like all of you. Like I'm seeing Desperado and Binks here. I can't remember the last time I saw those guys, especially Desperado. I haven't seen Desperado in forever. But Binks and you know, Alistair is hanging out now. Eric's here. Cradle of Zan. Like Stop Animal Murder Torture is probably the most loyal. I mean, he's here. Like he's in the Discord yelling at me constantly. You know, or yelling at Adrian or whatever. Like. You know, like, it's because of you guys, man. I mean, like, those of you guys who gave money and those of you guys who supported me, it's like, that right now is, like, my only source of income. So, look, you don't have to support me, you know that. But if you feel inclined, you know, I put up the buy me a coffee thing. You know, and it's basically, like, I look at it like this. So, for my health insurance and my bills, I need about $1,400 a month. It's doable. I could do Uber Eats on top of the buy me a coffee stuff. So I don't know, you know. We'll see what happens. But for now, you know, this is really like this is the only source of income I have right now. And it's okay if it's minimal, like it's fine. You know. I have money saved. You know, my wife makes a good living. We'll be okay. You know, even if I make no money off streaming. It's honestly, it is the money, but it's also just to have something to do, too. You know, I need projects. I need to be active. Let me know if you need help with any content ideas. Look, I'm open to it, guys. What should I do? Should I go in and start being the commie troll again? You know, that didn't get me very far. Will you be doing a name change to non-unemployment? Well, non-employment. That would be funny. But I don't want to have to rebrand, to be honest with you. I already tried to rebrand as Struggle Session Radio when I was doing the radio show. And that was a whole nightmare. I'm a video editor. I do all kinds of different editing. To be frank, I haven't seen Binks in a month of Sundays, too. Dude, we need to do collab stream, Wage Rage Radio. I've had a lot of growth lately to get some new followers. I know, Alistair. I really have to do that with you. I'm sorry, man. Poor Alistair. Like, you always wanted to collab, and I just suck, and I never follow through on anything. But I should. I will. I'm going to have to do some debates again. I guess. I fucking hate them. You know what I mean? I really don't like them. They're not fun. It's all sponsored content now. It's all sponsored streamers who, you know, they pay Wick $10 worth of taquitos a month. And he talks about how, you know, I don't know, like various pathetic Democrats are going to somehow fix the... You know, I put on Wick's stream last night, and he had... What's her name? It was all PV people, or PV Sphere people. It was... What's her name? It was Ukrainian Anna, some other fucking person, and then... Findom is so fun. Okay. And who's that other girl? Not So Erudite. Yeah, it was Ukrainian Anna, Not So Erudite, and some other fucking person. And then some guy with a duck profile picture on Discord. I don't know. And they're talking, and they're like, well, communism is really bad. And Anna's like, oh, yes, true. Communism is bad. I can't do a Ukrainian accent, but you get the idea. And then Not So Erudite is like, now, communism is bad, but I don't think it's as bad as fascism. What about you? And Wick is like, well, they're all bad. They're all bad. Okay, it's like, who the fuck is watching that? But there's 40 people watching. It's got to be botted, right? It's got to be botted. 40 people watching that? Why would anybody watch that? Why would anybody want Not So Erudite to give them input or insight on anything. You know, isn't Not So Erudite like a therapist or something? If she was my therapist, I'm blowing my fucking brains out. I told her that one time. She didn't laugh. Nobody laughed, by the way. Excellent joke. But if Not So Erudite is my therapist, I'm taking a nail gun and I'm fucking firing it into my eye. You know what I mean? Like, dude, like... Not So... What? Okay, listen. Can we just be honest? The only reason people talk to Not So Erudite is because she's a semi-attractive girl. It's the only reason. Zero insight, zero wisdom, zero intelligence, has nothing fucking of value to say at all about anything. To anybody. Ever. In any context. You know? Nothing. There's nothing there. Nothing. Nothing redeemable. Nothing. Michael Savage used to say the empty suits and empty skirts. Empty skirt. Empty fucking skirt. It was bad. It was bad content. And the thing is, when I go on panels now, it's like that, or it's like, I don't know, like this fucking cast of characters, like Jeb, or like these people, like I don't know, where do they find these people? You know what I mean? They had the ICE executed like 2 people in Minnesota, right? And we had a debate about it. And Jeb is like, well, there was a case study, actually. There's a case in 1980 where a black man, he said, fuck you to a cop. And they shot him, and it was fine. And I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about, dude? They executed 2 people. Like, I don't know. Like, what is this, a court of law? Like, why are you citing case? Shut the fuck up. You're not a lawyer, dude. You're not a lawyer. You're a fucking retard on the internet. Like, you know, stop acting like a lawyer. And stop appealing to law, by the way, the narrow scope of the law. Like, morality doesn't go beyond the law. It's just like, oh, well, the law says... Oh, yeah, in Nazi Germany, the law said that all Jewish people should be fucking thrown into camps. But that's what they said. It's right, so you gotta do it. That's what the boss said. Fuck you, okay? I'm still in Wix server for some reason. Of course, most of them despise me. Not only Jewish, yeah. If you're Roma, disabled, or gay, or a Slav, dead. I blocked Wick, or I unfollowed him at least. I unfollowed Jeb. I unfollowed all of them. The only person I still follow or I'm still cool with is Admiral Gibbs. Admirable Gibbs is the only one. There is Songbird. Gibbs is great. Okay, I don't agree with anything Gibbs says politically. I would imagine he says the same. Actually, I saw him last night, too. Streaming. And dropped by. He had nothing but nice things to say about me. Admiral Gibbs is a fucking great guy. Okay? I don't agree with his politics. I don't think he's... You know, whatever. I'm not gonna rip on Gibbs. Gibbs is a great guy. You know what I mean? Like, there's a few people out there who are cool. I got you a place to debate if you're interested, okay? Yeah, DM me. I don't know if you mean tonight, but DM me, yeah. You know? And Gibbs does well, man. Gibbs gets like 40, 50 viewers on Twitch. Dylan Burns is hurting these days, huh? He used to get like 300 viewers. He's down to like 80 people watching him. You know, that was the other thing. It's like, I went into some other stream. Okay, listen to this lineup. It was like Hutch, Dylan Burns, and 3 other mutant freaks from, you know, the PV bench or whatever, whoever is paying for their stuff now, whoever it is. They got these 5 people, and Dylan's in there, and he's like, well... He's like, people don't care about Bucha. People don't care about the human safari. And it's like, bro, okay, Dylan, look, sure, okay, right. Bucha. Okay, look, I'm not even going to get into the controversy about Bucha, whatever. I'm not going to get into it. My honest opinion, there's questions that I have about the whole situation, but I don't deny, I don't feel strong enough about it to say I doubt that anything happened, right? I don't feel strong enough. The human safari, I mean, like, I don't know if we're talking about the same thing, but it's basically confirmed that there was human safaris in Yugoslavia during the war where rich Westerners would pay to go and hunt people. Like, the thing is, like, Dylan and, like, they talk about it. It's like they talk about this stuff, and it's like, do you guys not understand that they're blowing up schools in the Middle East right now? They're killing kids all the time. They're killing hundreds of kids in front of you. Do you not get that? Do you not fucking get that? Do you not get that? Look at the civilian to combatant death ratio in Gaza versus Russia-Ukraine. Funny enough, Wix server, same server where people think that being pro-black is the same as anti-white. Yeah, well, you know what's weird? Like, here's the thing, dude. All like this, that whole like segment of libs is like, they're like conservatives, basically, is what it is. You know, they're conservatives. So, I don't know. I mean, like, they, I think this is my honest belief. I think it's all an elaborate psyop to get you to vote Republican. It's all an elaborate psyop to get you to vote Republican because look, if we're being honest right here, if someone like, I don't want to pick on him, but if someone like Lonerbox walks up to you and tries to convince you to vote for the Democrats, you're probably going to vote Republican, huh? I'm just saying. I'm not trying to pick on anybody, you know what I mean? But if Lonerbox walks up to you and he's like, in his Scottish accent, with his purple lighting and his glasses, and he's like, well, we have to strategize for the Democrats. You're going to be like, all right, man. I guess it's Trump, dude. Fuck this shit. Lonerbox. I mean, I debated Lonerbox last year, and actually we had a respectful conversation for the most part. That was the biggest mistake I ever made. That's what killed the channel, guys. You want to know the truth? That's what killed the fucking channel. Was the fact that I tried to do the respectful, professional thing too many times. That killed the channel. When I was being belligerent, the channel was doing a lot better. When I tried to be respectful and decent and good faith, terrible idea. Terrible idea. And I don't know what I was thinking. I guess I was thinking, like, I don't want to be a guy who just is hysterical to create content. But that's kind of what you have to do. You have to be, like, a little unethical, right? You have to be unethical. You have to be willing to be an asshole for no fucking reason. That's why I left the debate sphere, man. People want to see blood sports. I know, like, some guy hit me up. Someone hit me up about, they wanted me to debate Andrew Wilson. And I was like, listen, I'm not going to lie. Like, Andrew Wilson, like, would probably beat me in a debate because what is required to win a debate is being a fucking, overly aggressive asshole who is there to humiliate your opponent. And I don't function well like that. I don't like feeling, like, humiliated publicly on camera. And in the moments where I feel like I defeated someone else, I don't feel particularly good about it either. And he wanted me. Oh well, thank you, Banks. He wanted me to debate Christian nationalism versus communism, and I'm like, this just sounds like a fraught idea from the start. Like, I don't think it's going to be useful to convince Andrew Wilson to be a communist. Like, he has. And I don't know, what are we going to have, some high-level, boring discussion about philosophy and Hegel and the Orthodox Church and all that stuff and Alexander Dugin? I mean, like, why doesn't he just talk to Haas? That's not really my thing, you know? Like, I don't know. Like, I would happily talk to Andrew Wilson about the Republican Party or Trump or whatever, like Iran, something like that, you know? I don't know. Somehow I've remembered fake agitation. Okay, thank you, Desperado. Fake agitation newspaper by Zelensky made by his opponent Poroshenko, where Zelensky claimed that he will mobilize whole countries 7 years ago. Nobody believed that. Where is Poroshenko these days, I wonder? Do you still think, Lazy, this is a little off topic, that someday, soon, Zelensky will become president of Ukraine? Because the rumor last year was that Zelensky was the chosen replacement. He talked with Haas on Fresh and Fit about it, and it was all over the place. Yeah, it sounds pretty on brand there, all the way around. DM sent. All right, yeah, I saw that. Christian nationalism versus Christian anarchism debate would be more useful than that situation. Look, dude, Christian national. I don't know. I don't have anything to say about Christianity. You know what I mean? Christianity is fine with me. I don't know. I should have a stronger opinion on it, maybe. You know, I mean, look. Evangelical Christians in America are Zionists, and in that sense, it's like an evil movement. Catholics, I think, politically, it's like complex. They're torn. You know, you got Trump saying that he's gonna like beat the shit out of the Pope or whatever. You got Elbridge Colby telling the Holy See that they're gonna fucking bomb the Vatican if the Pope doesn't start acting right. They had Elbridge Colby talk to the Vatican at a meeting, and Elbridge Colby or one of his staff members brought on like the war between the French monarchy and the papacy when they moved the center of the Catholic Church to France, and there was like military intervention. You know, subliminally threatening to like go to war with the fucking Vatican. Like, what? I don't know. Like, it just gets funnier. I'm designing a black insurrection and a Christian anarchist framework myself. Sounds cool. Rural Catholics and city Catholics are wildly different politically. That's probably true, yeah. What religion is he? Who do you mean, Trump? Or Elbridge Colby. I think Elbridge Colby is probably like a Satanist. I don't know. He probably like bows to Baal and Moloch. Which religion is more nonsensical to you, Christianity or Islam? I don't think either of them are nonsensical. I don't think either of them are nonsensical at all. I think that all the Abrahamic religions have obviously common thread, and I think that each of them has, you know, profoundly deep and meaningful insights into the human condition. I think Muslims, honestly, seem to take their religion a lot more seriously, and I have a deep respect for that, but not all Muslims. And many Christians are very pious and serious, and you know, look, I don't think either religion is nonsensical at all. I just think that, look, I think they're highly shaped. The expression of both religions is shaped by the cultural context, and the cultural context is shaped by material conditions. You know, so like if you're talking about, like, I assume based on the way you're asking that, but I don't want to accuse you, but I assume what you're insinuating is that, you know, radical Salafist Islamic terrorists, you know, by comparison are way less crazy than Christians. I assume that's where you're going. I don't know for sure. But Salafism, radical Islam, Islamism, all of that stuff, that's a byproduct of how Islam developed in a particular place in the world. You know, and how a lot of those groups, anyway, the Salafist groups, are sponsored by the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, you know, for political reasons, so that they can project power. And, that in and of itself is a byproduct of oil wealth and the demand of oil throughout the world and blah, blah, blah. So I don't think either religion is really illogical or nonsensical is what you said. Christianity and Islam have black histories to them, though. Very important individuals such as MLK and Malcolm X. True, Western capital, can put up Red Monkey as Ukrainian president if they convince Ukrainian elites with blackmail deals. Zelensky seems logical, but to me feels like a weak candidate. I think in case of any elections, his military background would play against him because everybody wants peace. Yeah, but he could, well, it depends how you swing it, I guess. I don't really know the domestic political situation in Ukraine right now, but, just common sense tells me you could put yourself out there as a peace candidate who feels that the war is a lost cause. I don't know. The religions are fine. The people that use them as a system for control, not so cool. I'm from Ayrshire, Scotland, near where the Kennedy family name is from. Anywho, the good place of the Troon. The good people of Troon have a crowdfunder going to save the old Troon church from developers. Could you ask your followers? Ask my followers what? To help the Troon church? I don't know if Troon means something different in Scotland than it does online in the States, but yeah, it's an interesting word there. I don't know how to take that one. Someone else, help me out. What is he trying to say? Yeah, there are a lot of ways to manipulate crowds, so we can't make any statement. True. They have now a comedian who played piano with his dick as president. Zelensky is like Putin. Yeah, well, that's what I would think, too. Like, I don't know. Pragmatic choice, Sorry. Why is it that I get a cold and I'm blowing my nose for fucking, 5 weeks afterward? The volunteers at Troon Development Trust are looking to purchase the church and use it for the good of the community, especially in the health and well-being of the community. Could you please ask your followers for a minimum donation? Listen, dude, is this a real thing? Like, you're fucking with me, right? Troon Church? This has got to be fake. Holy shit, I think it might be real. Oh, no. It's real. Oh my god. It's fucking real. There's a town called Troon? There's a town called Troon in Scotland. Oh my god. Could you ask your well, just first of all, okay, Westfield, listen, you got to relax, dude. You come in, you send 2 messages. We're talking Zelensky, we're talking religion. We're talking all sorts of stuff here. You're just jumping in the middle of a totally separate conversation and you're insisting on donations. I just lost my job, okay? It may have been my fault, but I lost my job. I'm trying to get money myself, all right? I made $20 on this stream tonight, and you want my followers to go and help your Troon church. Okay. Why don't you just chill out for a second? All right? I got to wrap my head around this a little bit first. There's only 4 videos. Let's see. Look at these Troons. Yep. It's a Troon if I've ever seen one, right there. You could tell by the sequins. Sequin jacket and shirt. Classic Troon look. Look at this guy right here. Absolutely infested with troons.
Became flesh today. Jesus made his home among us. We can see his glory, such glory as befits God's only Son, full of grace and truth. Let us pray.
Full of grease.
Today we celebrate the birth of the one who brings joy and delight to the world through his being. For with
Is
him
it Presbyterian? I'm not sure. I guess. I don't know. Is it?
being in him. We gather
Troon
to
Church
greet
of
the
Scotland.
infant who in
Troon Old Parish Church. Let's go to the website. New Church of Scotland congregation serving the Ayrshire town of Troon. It's created by the Union of Portland, St. Medans, and Troon Old Parish churches. We meet to worship God, sharing the good news of Jesus Christ. Yeah, well, that could be good, I guess. I don't know, guys. Help the Troons, you know what I'm saying? What can I say? I don't know. We have no issues with Troons here on the struggle session, which doesn't exist anymore either. I think it said Presbyterian on the Google search. Did it? I probably missed that. Yes. Look at that. Look at that. Desperados on top of it. Bro, you were doing one of the most ungrateful jobs in the terrible environment with changes only to the worst, and you tried your best for 5 years. Let's not call it your fault, okay? I was quite shocked by your story, not gonna lie. You'll figure it out. I believe in you. By the way, is tutoring the way in the USA, or it's all difficult? Hey, thanks. Thank you, Lazy. Tutoring. So, with history, there is tutoring. There are tutoring opportunities. It's not a bad idea in the short term for some quick cash. But generally, people don't look for history tutors as often as they do, like, science and math. Science and math, which, you know, there's a greater emphasis on that stuff in education across the board because they want kids to basically be like calculators, you know? Like, they want kids to basically be fucking computers. So, you know, they want them to learn science and math and forget all of history and all of literature. But it's also that, let's just call it what it is. Those subjects are harder, and they require a lot of kids to be tutored. They've also dumbed down history classes quite a bit. Quite a bit. I can't tell if this is teaching or Twitch poll. You know, is there even really a Twitch poll anymore, would be my question there. Is there even really a Twitch poll anymore? I don't think so. What do you guys think of the new decor? Actually, what if I lower my seats? So you can see it properly. Okay. It's pretty good, right? We got a lot going on up here. Yeah, Twitch poll is 2023. Yeah, just about. Look, we got quite a collection. I have more stuff to hang, but haven't gotten around to it. Gimli became communist? Really? I don't know, like when I look at my feed, like, let me show you guys. I go on Twitch now. So, I don't know really even who this is, but I follow them for some reason. I do resemble Lenin, huh? I don't really know who this is. There's Dylan Burns. This is I think he's retarded. This is a retarded kid I follow on TikTok who he lives on Long Island and he eats like cheeseburgers. And every time I show him to my wife, she's like, I feel sick. Turn this off. But I follow him on Twitch. Zach App, who I guess I like. I don't really remember. Admiral Gibbs. Jason Society, who looks to be doing well. He's got a hype train going. Look at Jason. 3 years since my ordination. Ranger and Rogue doing well too. Need to rename your channel Son of Lenin. Reservoir still streaming, huh? Pentapule. I don't remember who this person is. Looks like he's streaming to 2 people. All right. Vigilante. He's still hanging. Also streaming to 2 people. Absolutely just ripping that vape. I don't think Vigilante is a bad guy. Idan Simpson is just showing Parenti lectures and oil. I don't know. Whatever. Why do I not care about Idan Simpson? We agree politically. Why don't I care more about him? I could give a shit what Idan Simpson's talking about. It was a pleasure to share information about our hospice services, fundraising activities, and our capital build project. Okay, thanks, dude. I mean, good for you guys. You know, I hope you get your money or whatever. I don't know. Can you get some people to give me money, too? You know? Can you blow the the bagpipes to signal that there's a friend in need in America who just lost his fucking job? Hold on, I'm just DMing someone. I don't know. So maybe I should ask for that Andrew Wilson debate then, huh? Hanging with people you agree with is easy. Hanging with people you disagree with is enlightening, which is why I'm here. Yeah, well, we have some serious disagreements, I think. But I like you anyway. I mean, pretty much everybody disagrees with me, and that's fine. You know. Like, it annoys me the fact that everybody on Twitch poll is an imperialist. They just hardcore love war, and it's fucking really crazy to me. That part I will never be able to wrap my fucking head around. Yes, we did. I will never be able to wrap my head around the people who... You know, I mean, they really lost the plot. Like the Ukraine thing, I disagreed, but I understood. They really lost the plot when they went pro-Israel. You know what I mean? That's when I knew it was an op. When Destiny was like, well, actually, Israel is good. As like, you know, a nursery school was like blown up. And they're like, well, Hamas was hiding in there. Like, when Destiny started sounding like Ben Shapiro, I was like, oh, this is a psyop. You know? By the way, we have an article coming out soon, probably tomorrow, on the Substack about various content creators and the propaganda bullshit that they bring with them. But I won't be talking about Destiny. I'll be talking about some other people that you guys may be a little familiar with. Should I show you a preview? Would you like to see a preview? All right. Maybe just a sneak peek. Okay, here's the sneak peek. I'm not even going to say anything, but this is the sneak peek. All right? So, make what you will of this. So that article will be coming probably tomorrow. And, you know, we're probably going to do another stream tomorrow night. I'll try to actually get some content for you guys. This was just like ranting and raving. But I got to actually start planning the streams if I'm going to do them. and ask people to pay me. I gotta like make them funny. You know, look, is this immature? Like, is this a bad idea? Would it be a bad idea to like call people? You know, like I could call my congressman on stream. That might be kind of entertaining. I don't know. You should do a critique on Pod Save America. Bro, Pod Save America. Those guys, that was the Obama speechwriter, right? Pod Save America. You know, yeah, I could do that. I mean, I don't know. Those guys are fucking losers, you know? I don't know, like, dude, listen. Is Pod Save America, is that David Frum? Is he, CCP? Or David Frum was on Pod Save America, maybe? No, he wasn't on it. And they're the epitome of MLK white liberals. Yeah. I don't know. They suck. You know what I mean? They're boring fucking milquetoast. Dude, they're all cowards. They're all water boys of the establishment. They're all fucking losers. No one is a bigger loser. You know who's the biggest loser of all? No one's a bigger loser than Hutch. Nobody is a bigger loser than Hutch, a.k.a. Hutchinson. That guy is a straight bitch. And you can tell him I said that. Okay? Lonerbox, I don't have a lot of great things to say, I guess, about his takes, but he at least talked to me. Dylan Burns had like 50 million debates with me. I disagree with Dylan on like everything, but at least he'll talk to me. Hutch is a fucking punk bitch, dude. And he's afraid. He's a fucking scared little boy, dude. Fuck Hutch. Okay? We had one interaction where in 2024, right before the election, and he fucking browbeat me and talked down to me like I was some peon because I dared suggest that Joe Biden might lose the general election. You know, Joe Biden, who was like locked in a fucking beach house somewhere in Cape Cod, you know, because he was like, you know, they had to like pump stem cells into him or something to keep him alive for the next debate. And I dared suggest that the Democrats had a losing strategy heading into the 2024 election. And I tried to talk to the fucking loser after that, and he wouldn't do it. He wouldn't even respond to me. And that other guy, Josiah, who's pondering politics, he's another pussy, but less of a pussy than Hutch, because he at least responded to the DM, but then he just bailed on me. Another one is Brianna Wu, total fucking coward. Said that she would do a 1v1, bailed, and never answered me. Go fuck yourself. They're all losers. The thing is, I'm a nobody, you know? So, like, why would you... I mean, I guess... I do get why you would ignore the DM. I do get why you would not schedule a debate because I'm a nobody. It's not going to help your channel grow. But Dylan Burns, I think, and a lot of those people, they always understood the fact that you can defeat a nobody, right? So, that's the benefit there. Hey, hold on. All right. Anyway. It's fucking annoying. All right. I guess I'll go, guys. I don't... Someone's trying to break in here, so... Anyway, we'll be back on... I've opened Ukrainian Anna channel. Yeah, what's that like? I'm sure that's interesting to watch. All right. Yeah, let me go. I'll see you guys tomorrow. I'll be back tomorrow. Thank you guys so much for the donations, the money that was given to me. I really do appreciate it. Thank you for the new follows, the new likes. I appreciate that as well. Check out the next stream. Drop by the Discord. You know, there's a lot going on in there, generally. The news feed, I can't recommend it enough. I put a lot of effort into it. Source everything from Telegram, but it's very in-depth. There's lots and lots and lots of stuff there, up to the second information. I mean, it's a great aggregator. I built it myself, so please come and check it out. Non-Smoker News Relay in the news section on my Discord. Come by. And yeah, I'll be back on tomorrow. What's the Discord link? Let me drop that before I go. That's actually important. All right. Discord link is right here. Definitely drop by. Everybody's welcome, regardless of your politics. If you want to debate and argue, that's fine. Just at least adhere to the rules. The rules are pretty straight up, typical Discord things. So, anyway, all right, guys. I will see you all tomorrow. Expect the Substack article to drop as well, and we'll talk then.